close reading is to take a close look at the parts to see how they relate to the whole. This means you will look at the parts of the passage, so the big five, we already did that, right? And compare those to the passage itself, the whole passage, like the whole 4 pages or 5 pages. And then you will take a look at the passage, or the part of the passage, and use that to analyze how the author, which means explain, how the author uses these elements to comment on the victimization, I'm reading victimization, on, in this case, collapse of the urban culture. Okay, so the parts of the passage are the text evidence that he pulls out to prove the collapse of culture. So he obviously is not going to write down every single piece of text from that passage. He'd be writing 4 pages of text, right? He's going to pull out different pieces of text evidence that seem to be discussing or proving the collapse of Yoruba culture. So he's picking pages 74 through 76. He says this passage talks about the praise singer and Ialoja ridiculing Ellison for destroying their culture when he couldn't perform Sati. Okay, so he's changed his nationality, but that's fine. Sati isn't that Japanese for suicide?
I thought it was ritual suicide.
It is. Is that what ritual suicide is called in? Anyway, yeah, that's what it's called. Anyway. When and where is the speaker speaking this passage? And so we have that. Patterns, we have that. But let's look at the text evidence. So for diction, he's pulled out Ellis, when we place the reins of the world in your hands and you watched it plunge over the bitter precipice. So I'm going to pull out that, I'm going to write that parts of the passage. If I'm him right here. I'm going to write, we place the world in your hands. And I'm just going to take the key quotes, 2 or 3, maybe up to 6 of the key quotes or the key ideas in the parts of the passage that I'm using. Then I'm going to see how those things affect the whole passage. So what is the effect of the key ideas, the key quotes on the whole passage? Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. Not the whole book, but the whole passage. And then the third box says, what is the above saying about the collapse of Yoruba culture in tragedy? So like, what is the effect of the whole passage saying? In other words, what truth stands out to you about people in society? So this is where we get meta, like level, we call it level 3. So level 1 is just that big 5 analysis. Level 2 is the interpretation, okay? And then level 3 is the bigger truths about people in society. So here's where you have to get a little more philosophical. Does that make sense? Okay, now, this will all fit into your thesis statement. By looking at, in this case, Ellison not being able to commit sati, we can see that, or the reader can see that one, like for example, one person who has power, one person's power can collapse an entire culture into itself, or can destroy an entire culture. And this is important because it shows the reader that one person does make a difference in society. That'd be like that level 3 thought. Does that make sense? One person with power makes a difference in society. Do you follow me now? So, and then that's a better thesis. That's a more profound thesis than what we were working with at the bottom of this. This was good for a workable thesis because it does give you a working argument, and I don't want you to lose that. But this is a more profound thesis. Gives us something deeper to write about. Stop.